There's a dedication, too.
There is? Is it good?
It's creative. It goes something like this. To Ma and Daddy, thank you for being absolutely, positively nothing like Mr. and Mrs. De La Crème. Everybody, it's Legend Wings or Mackenzie here, and today I'm with my friend Kaylee.
Hi guys!
And we've got a story for y'all. So a few months back, I decided to binge the entirety of America's Next Top Model, just because I could and because I had Hulu. And during the pinnacle, I feel like, of the series of the show, we were introduced to a very interesting concept in that Tyra actually wrote her own fantasy novel, and being a young adult fantasy novel writer myself, I thought it would be a great read to at least check out and give a chance, you know. So we looked up some of the Amazon reviews, and they had some interesting things to say about this book.
Quite a few interesting things.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go through, take turns reading Modelland by Tyra Banks. This is a good book. I can feel it already.
I'm so excited to read this, guys.
Yeah,
I'm just so ready for this. So I was the one in charge of finding the book in the library. So I went in and we couldn't find it at first, so we went up to the librarian and we're like, hey, so I'm looking for a book by Tyra Banks. And she's like, oh, I know exactly what book you're talking about. I know exactly where it is. This is a really popular book. So all good signs. So anyway, she took us right over to it and said, yep, this is a really popular book. It's checked out all the time.
So that's a very promising start to all this if the Amazon reviews weren't. So,
Yep.
So yeah, so I guess we'll start with the good old dear prologue. It's not listed as prologue, but it looks like story pages about 3 before the first chapter. So, hope you all enjoy. You want to be there. You know you do. Don't lie, darling. It's spelled like that.
Okay.
It's okay. I know what you're thinking when you look up at the splendorous place atop the mountain. I know what fills you, spurs you on, fuels your dreams. You're obsessed with being chosen. Everyone is. The land you thirst for has loomed at the top of the mountain in Metopia for as long as you can remember. Or is it Metopia?
It's probably Metopia.
It's probably Metopia.
It's probably Metopia.
I'll go with Metopia.
Okay.
But for most of the year, it's covered in fog. Its color changing with each passing day as if it's a gargantuan mood ring. You begin your morning staring at the fog, longing for the fateful evening when it will turn a golden yellow, and then, finally, like a push-up brassiere, lift. Alright.
Also, is this written all in second person?
I think just the prologue is.
Okay,
I think it's addressing the reader, so you really get into the main character's point of view later on.
Okay. Because sometimes that's a hit or miss, but okay, so yeah, hopefully it's just the first couple.
Yeah, it looks like it's in third person otherwise, so
okay,
we'll be good after this point.
I prefer that anyway.
Yeah, this is getting kind of weird reading to you. Oh,
what if I dream of going to Metopia and Modelland wherever we're going?
And I wouldn't judge you for that, but maybe a little.
Thanks.
Yep. Anyway. Oh, how you long for that moment with bated fresh breath, I hope. For it signifies that the luminescent eye will soon blaze in the sky, bathing the whole world in gold, touching every one of its inhabitants, including you. But darling, it is no ordinary golden light. Once it tickles you, you are suddenly transported. You hear the softest of sighs or faintest of giggles in your ear, even if you're standing alone. The once stale air around you becomes both sweet and tart, making your nose tingle and sending a charge of excitement through your brain. The finest silk, the softest velveteen, or the supplest suede will brush your skin, but whatever you thought was touching you is nowhere to be seen. Basking in the light is such a naughty tease, like getting a single lick of the most delicious butter pecan gelato you've ever tasted. It inflames your obsession, increasing your desire 100-fold. You lust to go to this land to become one of the only famous people in the world. You ache to be a 7, which is the number 7, and then the word 7 connected to each other.
Wait, hang on.
You ache to be a 7.
Is it a 7-7 or just
It might be a 7-7, but very few ever get the chance. Nevertheless, you and every young girl in the world vie for an opportunity on the day of discovery, which is a grander than every global holiday combined. Making the delirium even more intense, the land sends 7 talisman called SMIZEs into the world. What an arcane word! Who thought of such a thing?
SMIZE. That's a verb, meaning smiling with your eyes.
Okay.
Thanks, Tyra. These SMIZEs, which boost your odds of being chosen by 91%, are propelled through the world's waterways. Naturally, the week before the day of discovery, bathing, showering, pool use, and even sewer diving increase. Threatening a drought. All right.
Okay, yep, use all the water.
If you're jumping in sewers, you're gonna need a bath, and you use the water, and you gotta jump in sewers because there's no more water left, so. Alright.
Wait, so are these like physical things, or like, what are they, talisman?
Yeah, the 7 talisman called SMIZEs.
Okay.
And they're delivered through the world's waterways, and they'll boost your odds by 91% of getting into this society, I guess. So people before the week before the day of discovery, they take a lot of baths and do a lot of really weird things.
To like never bathing.
Maybe they don't bathe except for the 7
maybe
days
they just
before.
take like 10 baths a day. I don't know. But the sewer diving, why?
It's not worth it, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Also, how would you like to get picked as like the model that gets to go to this like Metopia and be like, yeah, I found my talisman from sewer diving.
Yeah, it was great, guys. I worked hard for that, and it was 100% worth it.
I mean, they would have worked harder than anyone else.
It was 91.
They would be insane.
It was 91% effective and 100% worth it. Chance meetings erupt into fisticuffs on occasion. Every girl wants to find a SMIZE, darling, but not nearly as much as you do. You ignore the slim odds and disregard the warnings you've heard since birth, like how it's easier to grow 3 inches in a month than it is to score a spot in the newest class. You turn a deaf ear to the cautionary tales whispered in your hometown and throughout Metopia, in dingy alleys and side streets of pitter-patter, during shift changes in Shivera, and on assembly lines of Peppertown factories. Like the rumor that the school often takes inhumane and irreversible disciplinary action, or that certain disposable civilian girls are brought to the land to be tortured and then killed, and used as human sacrifices for ungodly experiments and animalistic rituals. It's obvious why they torture them. The gossip mongers whisper. The gossip mongers whisper. Those in the land bathe in civilian blood to maintain their breathtaking beauty.
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
No.
A literal bloodbath, darling? That crimson elixir must leave a nasty ring around the tub.
That's your concern?
Goodness, great shoes.
I'm gonna say that from now on just to annoy you.
That's my new catchphrase. Is goodness, great shoes. We're almost done with the prologue, guys. And then there's the reality of the Pilgrim Plague, a form of sadness meets madness that compels unselected hopefuls to embark dadless. Yeah? Dadless? To embark dadless on an unauthorized pilgrimage to the land. It's a sickness that comes with a quickness and afflicts the most determined and desperate. And the trek through the dangerous, diabolical divide always ends in dismembering death. Ouch. It literally says ouch following that line. In case you didn't know that dismemberment hurt.
I mean, that was my thought.
Right. As the day of discovery dawns, however, you and every young girl around the world tune out the horrifying negatives and concentrate on the glitzy, gaudy, dream-come-true positive. You dredge up every ounce of self-confidence from deep within. This is my year, you say to yourself, and so does every other girl. They'll choose me for sure. Every girl feels the same way, except one. Tookie De La Crème. And I'm Tookie. And that's the end of the prologue. Do you want me to read chapter 1 and keep going, or you
I'll take a turn.
All right. Here's your chapter 1. The wonderfully put together title here.
Are we supposed to read her name in a weird way? It's like T space O space O-K-E. Tookie.
Just for the title, though, because it's not ever spelled like that ever again.
Chapter 1. Tookie. Have you ever seen her? The girl whose face not even the meanest person you know would describe as yuck, but who you'd never in a million, no, a trillion years describe as alluring either. The girl whose eyes are 3 centimeters too far apart, and whose mouth is 4 centimeters too wide. Not that you'd break out a ruler, but when you look at her, it's enough to make you say that something is definitely off. Come on now, you've seen her. She's the girl whose hair has multiple personality disorder, and can't even decide if it's supposed to be quasi-curly, silky straight, frantic frizzy, or wet and wavy, or maybe a power to the people fro. The girl whose body is a contradiction itself, a slightly hunched back, from years of poor posture, one must presume, feet the size of snowshoes, and stick-figure arms and legs so fragile you think you would hear them screaming, "Feed me an entire grilled cow, now!" The girl with a humongous punch bowl-sized head, with a forehead that goes on and on and on, making her look like the weight of her cranium will topple her over and break her into 1,000 pieces. And not only is her clothing painfully mismatched, so are her eyes, darling. You heard me right. She has 1 green eye and 1 brown one. Have you ever seen Tookie De La Crème? I bet you have. Maybe you've even met her. You just don't remember her. No one ever does. For an unusual looking as she was, Tookie was a forget-a-girl. One of the most forgettable girls in the entire world. But maybe not for long. Our tale begins on a Thursday afternoon, the most ordinary of ordinary afternoons, a few days shy of the most unordinary day of the entire year. Tookie De La Crème was splayed on her back on the hallway floor of her school, the Bangle, Bauble, and Bead Institute, B3 as it was commonly called. Her large mismatched eyes didn't blink as she stared at the stained ceiling. Her gangly legs shot out at odd angles, as though she'd fallen from a 6-story building.
Okay, we just spent like 3 paragraphs describing how this girl looks, and now we've got to clarify that this girl indeed looks as awkward as Tyra explained before.
They had to make sure, like, they have to prove they weren't lying.
Right, and it's weird because it's split because we had the omniscient voice, and now there's a page break. And now we still have an omniscient voice, but I think it's about to break into third person, or at least I hope it does.
But it looks like it does. And I don't think it goes back to that, like, second person, like, narrator. But, just wait. I just saw a great line.
Okay, I'm ready, I think.
So, her large, mismatched eyes didn't blink as she stared at the stained ceiling. Her gangly legs shot out I can't read, gosh. Her gangly legs shot out at odd angles, as though she'd fallen from a 6-story building. Her enormous feet pointed straight up. An internal clock counted down the time in perfect cadence. Yep. T minus 6 minutes and 49 seconds. 48. 47. As Tookie waited, she lifted her face to a cold canister of whipped cream, inserting the nozzle straight into her mouth. She pressed the trigger, then delivered that airy sweetness directly onto her tongue. A bit of sweet cream accidentally dropped from her mouth and dripped from her chin to her neck. With each squirt, more and more of the cream fell onto her snug-fitting, hand-me-up blue blouse. Opposite of hand... How is there an opposite of hand-me-down?
There's a hand-me-up?
A hand-me-up blue blouse?
Does she mean
which
hand-me-down?
had once been her younger sister's.
No, clever.
Okay, I could see that.
I could see that. But if she hadn't explained it, I would have continued to be confused.
I'm sorry, I just didn't keep reading. So, a hand-me-up blue blouse which had once been her younger sister's. Another squirt landed in her hair. She then licked her tiny baby fingers from thumb to pinky and prepared for the next squirt.
This makes me so uncomfortable.
Where is your mind?
This just makes me so incredibly uncomfortable.
How was Tookie able to lie in the middle of her school's hallway during class time, enjoying whipped cream from the can, and not get herself into any trouble? Well, Tookie was the Institute's best skipper. No one, not even the most cunning teachers, noticed she was gone when she skipped out of class way before most of her lessons ended. T minus 4 minutes, 33 seconds, 32, 31. As Tookie stretched her legs, the backs of her calves touched the bitingly cold marble, making her shiver. Most people would have found it uncomfortable, but Tookie was happy she felt something. At least she was still alive and breathing. Sometimes Tookie was so used to being a forget-a-girl that she thought she really was invisible. T minus 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. A loud but familiar clanging made Tookie jump. The school's bell was actually an old-time buzzer that had long ago signaled factory shift changes. In days gone by, before the Institute had taken over the building, B3, sorry. I can't read my letters. B3 had produced 3 things: bangles, baubles, and beads.
Ooh.
Once the bell stopped, a familiar rumbling made Tookie cringe. An oily belch followed, sending a thick cloud of greenish smoke through the vents. A stench filled the air. It smelled like a mix of gasoline, mold, melted plastic, and methane gas emanating from the bowels of the building.
Yum.
That's sort of a nice alliteration. Not quite, but sort of nice. Not entirely perfect, but it's all right. It's kind of cool. All right. So excruciatingly loud school bells weren't the only relics left over from when B3 had been a factory. The administration had done very little in the way of renovation to convert the safety code deficient building into a proper institute of learning. The school let out belches and eruptions all day and leaked fumes from every crevice. This is not safe.
Why are they having school here? You could literally have
any other building.
Any other building.
Any other building.
I would have it outside.
Yeah,
in the rain before you put students in a building full of gases and fumes.
Yep. What are they coming from?
The old factory. I guess the factory's just still running, even though nobody's running it.
There'd have to be like something in it to like make the whatever.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. Groaning, the students emerged from their classrooms. Ugh, Ariella Bertana wailed, fanning the odors from her face. Nasty, Tatiana Sharon said, pressing a sachet of dried flowers to her nose.
Okay. I don't know.
The B4 Institute tooted again. Oh. The B4 Institute tooted again, Jason Milano chortled, trotting out the school's oldest, tiredest, but aptest joke. Everyone called the school B4 for bile, barf, belches, and butt bombs.
Ah, boys.
Yep. More doors were flung open and the sounds of footsteps thundered through the halls. Tookie quickly closed her eyes. She then peeked to see just how far the approaching mob was from her prone body. 9 feet away, she estimated. The conversations of passerby began to wash over her. Tookie felt like a fly on the wall. Except she's on the floor, but...
Yeah, fly on the floor.
Zarpessa says she's spending $50,000 on her prep, said an annoyed female voice over Tookie's head. Hag. What do you think the look will be at TDOD this year? TDOD?
Yeah. T-DOD. T-Dod?
T-Dod.
T-Dod.
What do you think the look will be at T-Dod this year? A girl with a forehead tattoo whined. I hope my tatted face will be in. Don't hold your breath, Inky, a male voice answered. Another voice floated over from the other side of the corridor. If they don't choose me, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'll die if I end up working in a belt buckle factory like my mom. I've been crying for a month straight. I hope my eyes aren't going to stay all puffy like this.
Oh, jeez.
Many of the conversations had to do with the big event that was taking place in 2 days, the Day of Discovery, which most people shortened to TDOD. It was the grandest of holidays, and B3 was even letting its students have Friday off this week to prepare, an absolute rarity. Not that Tookie really cared. What do you think the rest of them will be this year? A girl with a nasal voice asked. I heard that a girl found one in a pot of boiling sweet potatoes and burned her hands real bad trying to get it. Aww.
Oh, dear.
Poor girl.
Ouch.
Tookie shifted on the floor. Now they were talking about SMIZEs. Girls had been searching for the magical charms for days, fighting at water spigots, sloshing through the sewers, splashing in the Peppertown pool, which everyone knew kids peed in. I found the pipe where the gunk water from the Shivera hospital dumps out, a hopeful girl whispered. No one is going to be looking for SMIZEs there. As more people passed, as more girls chattered about T-Dod, Tookie began to feel lonelier and lonelier. It was yet another day when no one, not a single person, looked down on the floor and cried, "Oh, check out that girl down there!" All the students rushed past Tookie like water in a stream flowing around a rock. Rubber sneakers almost crushed her fingers. Heavy boots nearly bumped her shins. A piece of paper fluttered out of someone's notebook and landed close to Tookie's left hand. The paper's owner, a dark-haired girl, bent down to snatch it, not even noticing that Tookie was there. Irrelevant, expendable, forgettable. All Tookie wanted was for someone to notice her. Anyone. Just a simple kick in the ribs, or a sneaker sole that squished her hand, or a textbook that slipped from a student's grip and fell on her large forehead. She wasn't picky. Oh man, up your standards.
Oh no. Oh no, honey. No.
Spin, thud, spin, thud, spin, 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 thud. Tookie looked at the spinning dervish. Tookie looked up at the spinning dervish approaching, taking in her long, thick, curly, wheat blonde hair, her silver dollar-sized aqua eyes, and her perfectly symmetrical face. It was as if Tookie's wish had come true, sort of. For here was her sister, Miracle.
Great job, parents. So we have Miracle.
We're going to spell that out.
It's
Miracle. Someone who didn't even notice her. Except, well, Tookie didn't really want her to. Spotting Tookie sprawled on the floor, Miracle began to sing, "You are not my D-nay-nay." What? You are not my D-nay-nay. You are not my D-nay-nay?
Maybe like DNA, but it's DNA-nay.
I don't know. She gave one spin for each word, making the hem of her blue dress flutter. It was a dress, Tookie guessed, that would pass to her as a hand-me-up in a matter of days. Tookie rolled her eyes at her sister's mispronunciation of DNA.
Hey!
Beyond her looks and fancy flights of footwork, what was most disturbing to Tookie about the Miracle, as Tookie's mother called her, was not that she was Tookie's younger sister. The most disturbing fact was that the Miracle was distinctly, indisputably, flat out dense. As dumb as a lobotomized turkey, and turkeys were said to raise their heads to the sky during rainstorms and drown themselves.
Wow.
Oh, Tookie tried to give her sister the benefit of the doubt. Miracle had memorized every intricate dance step of the 22 verses of the Shivera Shuffle, after all, and at least she understood the concept of DNA, even if she got the pronunciation wrong. But in all honesty, Miracle wasn't the brightest tube of lipstick in the makeup caddy. 1,
It's a new one.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. In one sentence. One sentence. 6 lines.
Good. Good job, Tyra.
Could have been broken up like 4 times.
Good
Fine.
job.
Luckily, Miracle pirouetted out of sight almost immediately. Problem gone. For now. Tookie sighed and reached for a small, thick yellow book wedged under her lower back. It wasn't just any regular yellow, but the color of a taxi cab that had been freshly painted and spit polished. It wasn't just any regular book, but a collection of letters Tookie had written to people she'd encountered throughout her life. Not that she would ever dare send them. She called this book T-Mail Jail. Tyra Mail?
Yeah, probably. Probably Tyra Mail.
She called this
Probably.
book T-Mail Jail. Tookie found it ironic that the book's initials, TMJ, also stood for an ailment that impaired a person's ability to open her mouth. The front cover displayed Tookie's first name, handwritten in beautiful calligraphy. The spine of T-Mail Jail read, "Don't keep out," the back cover urged. "Invade my privacy, please." If one were inclined to follow these instructions, the inside cover challenged, "I dare you to turn the page." But no one dared. Or, more accurately, cared. As the crowd continued to move around her, Tookie opened T-Mail Jail to a blank page. She closed her eyes, selected one of the dozens of colored pens tucked into the pocket of the book's back cover, and held it in front of her face. Blue, in her color code, was for the English language. Boring, Tookie thought. Tookie uncapped the pen, held the journal in the air over her head, and began to write to her only friend in the world. She had been missing for over 6 weeks now, and Tookie feared she would never see her again. Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's not looking good.
Then we have some handwritten notes.
Okay.
Dear Lizzie, it's day 39 of my great SPLD campaign, and everyone is still ignoring me. SPLD stood for Silent Protest by Lying Down. Tookie pronounced it spilled. Oh. As an oblivious classmate almost whacked Tookie's head with a rusty fencing... Epee?
Don't know French.
I don't know much about fencing either, so...
No.
Tookie licked the tip of her pen, gripped it in her right hand, and continued to write. She wasn't a natural right-hander, but her mother had slapped her wrist so many times for writing with her left that Tookie had begrudgingly made the switch. It hurts, and it hurts that you can't be here, and I can't tell you this for real. It hurts, too, that you disappear for weeks, and I have no idea where you've gone. Girl, you're my only friend. Can't you at least even tell me where you've been? Anyway, everyone is caught up in the Day of Discovery happening this weekend. But even if they weren't caught up in all the hoopla of the coming event, they still wouldn't see me. Perhaps I don't want them to notice me. I mean, this spilled number, 39. Why not go for the world record? 40 days of lying on this cold hallway floor, waiting for someone to speak to me, but no one saying a word? 40 days of being invisible. Lizzie, there must be an association that honors achievements like this. I can hear my acceptance speech now. I'd like to thank the Spilled Academy. There's nothing more beautiful than a Forget-A-Girl being recognized by her own Forget-A-Peers. And let's not forget my dear family. On second thought, let's. Mr. Girl, hopefully I'll see you today. FG, Tookie. Over the I in her name, Tookie added a tiny FG for Forget-A-Girl.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yep.
But before closing T-Mail Jail, she thumbed through its previous entries, admiring the rainbow of colors. Every color represented a different language. Flamingo pink for Gaudian... What? Grape for...
Très jolie.
Très jolie.
Like...
Mandarin orange for Bay Jingle, and skyscraper gray for Calorian.
So has she come up with
The
different
language
names
spoken in distant lands of sans color. Okay, so are the places all based on different colors? Like
That's kind of what
Pallet Town?
it's feeling like a Pokemon kind of theme. So we got Pallet Town, we got our
Viridian
Viridian
City.
Yep. So I think
Okay.
but I just got really concerned there because I'm like,
Flamingo
is
pink
this
for
like an actual
consonant.
language?
Cabernet grape for Trejolie. Mandarin orange for Bay Jingle. I don't know.
Jingle.
The language spoken in different lands of Sans Color. Okay, so maybe the land of Sans Color, maybe that's the country?
The land of Sans Color. I mean, it's the land without color, so I don't know.
I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Guess we'll find out. Stay tuned.
Tookie had a knack for quickly picking up foreign languages and wrote whole letter entries in them. By the age of 11, Tookie knew 28 languages. Holy crap!
Okay. You need to find some friends. Like, that's super impressive, but please
Dang.
use those languages now and go make some friends.
Get this. Now by the age of... No, now at 15, she spoke nearly every language in the world.
That'll
No,
come in
nearly
handy.
every world tongue. Okay.
Okay.
So now at 15, she spoke nearly every world tongue. The nagging truth, though, was that this incredible linguistic gift of Tookie's seemed wasted. It was almost a cruel cosmic trick. Why give this ability to a girl with whom no one wanted to speak? The thundering crowd in the Bangle, Bauble, and Bead Institute hallway started to thin. Tookie nervously smoothed out her shorts, closed her T-mail jail, and straightened her body out of its position suggestive of traumatic injury. And then she heard the bow-legged footsteps she'd been waiting for. Step, pause, step, pause, step. Coming her way.
Ooh.
There was only one person at B3 who spoke to Tookie besides Miracle. Class President Theophilus Lovelaces.
Oh my
Theophilus?
lord.
I'm going to say Phyllis. Class President Theophilus Lovelaces, the very step, pause figure quickly approaching. It had been 1 year ago, almost to the day, but Tookie hadn't forgotten it. In truth, it was why she had invented the act of spilding in the first place.
So it's like planking, but now it's
I
spilding.
guess. Spilding in the first place. There were many letters in T-mail jail written to Theophilus, all expressing unrequited admiration and affection. Gosh, I can't read. Tookie longed to slip into his locker, but she knew she never would. What?
What? Whoa. Back it up. She's talking about this dude.
She wants him to shove her in his
Because
locker?
she wants attention that badly. So she wanted to be stepped on, so now she wants...
To be bullied.
Is he another teenager? Is that established?
Yes, he's the class president.
Okay. So he wants the class president to put her in his locker. Alright.
Is that like metaphor for something else? I don't know.
That
We'll
is
see.
so
We're not going to think about that.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like...
We're not going to think about that. A year ago, Tookie had taken a real spill, tumbling down the narrow spiral staircase to the cafeteria. All she clearly remembered about that moment was one foot touching that first step and then both enormous feet flying into the air. She was falling. There was the floor. Boom. Tookie had landed so hard the world had gone black for a few minutes.
Oh.
Spots began to appear before her eyes. Bodies swept past her, but not one person tried to help. Tookie had just lain there while the day continued as usual for everyone else at Bangle, Bauble, Bead Institute.
So I'm going to go with the Taylor theory right now. Tookie's dead.
Yes, that's totally
Tookie's
what I was
dead and
thinking.
everything from here on out never happened.
Yep.
She's hallucinating and death.
It explains why no one sees her. She's a ghost.
Yeah, she's a ghost. That's our new theory is Tookie's dead and a ghost. Yep.
Except that maybe the sister, the miracle person, maybe she can speak to ghosts. I don't know. So she's lying there. But then a figure in a pinstripe jacket had appeared. Tookie's vision was still blurry, but she could make out a small round button on the figure's lapel. Vote for love. You know, that's a good slogan. Good for him.
Yeah, good job.
Way to use your last name, Lovelaces.
Yep,
good for you.
That's creative. I like it. It's also very convenient. Your name is Lovelaces, so hey, use it.
I mean, otherwise it's like a terrible last name.
Otherwise it's terrible unless you can use it as a campaign slogan.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
Could be McDonald. Are you okay? Theophilus Lovelaces stood above Tookie like a royal guardsman coming to the aid of his queen. The pin on his lapel was one of the good luck charms he passed out to B3 students in hopes of getting re-elected every school year. He'd never given one to Tookie, though. The noises in the cafeteria ceased to exist. Tookie was groggy from her fall. Her ears rang to the point of leaving her deaf, and her mouth felt like it had been anesthetized, but that didn't stop her from noticing his imperfectly perfect features. Sun-kissed, tightly curled hair, a left cheekbone that was sharper and more defined than the right, and sympathetic golden brown eyes, the exact color of 2 salted caramels, Tookie's favorite candy. He wore a camel-colored suit of the finest fabric, an indication of his family's prestige. They were the wealthiest people in all of Metopia, and yet he didn't carry himself with an air of privilege or self-righteousness. In fact, he chose to attend B3 over a private school in his own neighborhood because he wanted to be among the regular people. And now he was smiling at Tookie kindly and generously, as though they were equals.
Thanks, Tamaki.
Yes, she wanted to tell him, I'm better than okay, but her mouth wouldn't work. Theophilus tilted his head to the side, his lip curling over a slightly chipped tooth. That was quite a spill. And then, amazingly, he had reached down and taken her hand. Tookie's tongue was frozen solid. She had imagined what she must look like to him, like a rag doll without most of its stuffing, and with trace lines of drool on both of her cheeks. Disgusting. After a few moments of lying there, or just staring, Theophilus stepped back, an apologetic look on his face. Okay, sorry. And then he had turned around and left. They hadn't talked since. Now Theophilus was fast approaching. T-minus 10, 9, 8. Albert Talbert, the most disheveled student at B3, walked alongside him, his unlaced shoes flapping against the hard, shiny floor. T-minus 3 seconds, 2. Maybe Theophilus wouldn't see her today. Splayed out in the SPLD, the spilled. Maybe he would do so as he did last year, standing above her, extending his hand, asking, "Are you okay?" And then Tookie would stare into his salted caramel eyes and tell him exactly how she felt. Theophilus crossed in front of Albert and stumbled over Albert's shoelace as if it were a tripwire. His body pitched forward. Tookie reached up her arms to catch him. Unfortunately, Theophilus caught hold of an open locker and steadied himself. Something plopped onto Tookie's chest, and he did a half sit-up to peer at it. Vote for love. Theophilus's button. Tookie stared at the button for a long time. Finally, she tentatively reached for it, thrilled to touch something that had so recently been so close to Theophilus's skin.
Your hair would look great on my wall. Thanks.
Tookie's hand was 2 centimeters from reaching vote for love when whoosh! A field hockey stick grazed her abdomen and sent the button flying across the hall.
Jeez.
Tookie sat up fast, panicked. There was love, rolling right up to Manny Manuel's locker. It's mine! Tookie lurched to her feet and charged through the stomping crowd, nearly knocking Manny over. She scanned the floor for the button. Where is it? Where is it? Then she spied it. There, near that pair of hairy legs. The legs belonged to Abigail Goody, who wore her super thick long black hair with pride. It's one word. Super thick.
Super thick.
Who wore her super thick long wavy black hair with pride. Even from her armpits. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Abigail took a step forward, and her sharp heel squished the Vote for Love button, which shot out from under her shoe. Tookie cried out in pain, as if the button were her own tender skin.
Oh dear.
Love careened down the stairs. Tookie bolted at top speed down the steps, taking 2, then 3 at a time. Follow the love! Tookie, follow the love! A shiny black boot kicked the button and sent it sailing through the stale cafeteria air right into a trash can. Tookie pursued it like a lion after a zebra. She wanted that button. It felt like the only new thing anyone had ever given her in life. Not that Theophilus had exactly given it to her, but Tookie wasn't one to quibble over semantics. She reached the trash can, took a deep breath, and plunged her hands into it. She felt slimy banana peels, congealed macaroni and cheese, crusty heels of bread, and sticky soda cans. Finally, her fingers curled around the button, and she pulled it out with glee. The poor thing was badly damaged, dented, and slimy from its voyage. In fact, it no longer said, "Vote for love." Instead, the V and O and E of the first word were gone. The F and R of the second were totally erased, and the last word, the L, was knocked into non-existence, and the V was scratched so badly it resembled a K. Oh, okay. But the E remained intact. Tookie almost threw the button back into the trash before her eyes focused again, and she saw that now spelled its own version of her. Tookie. This makes sense why the first chapter was called. So the chapters must have titles.
The chapters all have titles.
Chapters have titles?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the chapter title makes sense.
Okay.
But how that button came to be Tookie makes absolutely no sense at all. But sure, let's roll with it. It's a fantasy novel. Anything
As I was reading it, I'm trying to picture it in my head, but
it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, it still works.
It kind of works except for the K that gets thrown in there, but whatever.
Well, I could see you have your V, and then maybe if there's a line through it for the last part K. I don't know.
As a button, I imagine it's just this round, either 1 to 3-inch thing maybe, and so trying to envision it cracking in such a way, I don't know.
I think it's a scratch, not cracked. So I guess it could work. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, let's go with it.
The button now spelled its own version of her. Tookie. Me, she gasped, and then she looked up. To her astonishment, Theophilus stood at her side, staring at her gunked-up hands above the trash can. He was quite short, only coming up to Tookie's chin, and there was a whisper of a bemused smile on his lips. You find what you were looking for? It was astounding, amazing, second sentence Theophilus had ever said to her. Tookie stared at the button in her hand. Maybe she could show it to Theophilus. Look how your slogan changed into my name, she could say. Don't you think it's a sign, too? Theophilus? Tookie's and Theophilus's heads swiveled to the left. Zariana... Pronounce.
Wow.
Zariano.
French, French, kind of Zarpessa Zariano.
Zarpessa Zariano. Strolled into the hallway. We're gonna call her Zizi, maybe.
Zizi
strolled into the hallway. With long, single-textured, bone-straight auburn hair, flawless skin that didn't need an ounce of concealer, eyelashes that required not a stroke of mascara, and a tall, lean body kissed with subtle curves, she made every head in the B3 hall whip in her direction. And just like that, Tookie's heart dropped to her hand-me-up shoes, which were 2 sizes too small. Zarpessa was Theophilus's girlfriend. They had been an item for the past 3 years.
Dang it, man. There goes my OTP.
There you are, Zarpessa thrilled, swinging her golden rod-hued dream bag, this year's $5,000 it purse, in her hand. She glided towards Theophilus with the grace of a swan and held up a massive poster written in gold glitter pen. ZZ presents Theophilus Lovelaces for President. Again! This is made with real gold dust, Zarpessa boasted. My father had some to spare. And our mayor's sister's psychoanalysis neighbor's BFF told me that the posters written with precious metals like this definitely get you reelected, she added. Theophilus turned his attention from Tookie and looked at Zizi. Oh, great, Czar. He unconsciously reached to the area of his chest where his vote for love button used to be. The empty spot made him pause for a moment, flustered, but then he kissed Zizi gently on the lips. It was hard for Tookie not to stare. Oh, how she wanted it to be her lips Theophilus was kissing right now. She had imagined it so many times. Oh. She and Theophilus alone together in the dry Peppertown forest, their lips moving closer, and finally touching to give Tookie her first and only kiss. Zarpessa would be forgotten. Tookie would be remembered. The happy couple walked away arm in arm, leaving Tookie alone by the stinking trash can. She slipped the button into the pocket of her shorts, the fabric so tight she could feel Tooke digging into her hip. All sorts of emotions flooded through her. Hope, then disappointment, then embarrassment, then shame. Even if Theophilus had spoken to her, it wouldn't have meant he wanted to know her. It would take a miracle. No, not Tookie's sister, but a real miracle for Theophilus to notice her in the way she wanted. And for Tookie De La Crème, miracles were impossible to come by.
Unless they're your sister.
Yeah, unless they're your sister. Your turn. We've never read the book before.
Right.
We haven't skimmed the chapters much. Like, we skimmed maybe a couple lines here and there,
like
but...
half the stumbling we'll do is because of how outrageous things are worded.
Zarpessa's...
name.
What was her name? Whatever the hell Zizi's name is.
Zizi. She's just Zizi now. Some of these characters I feel like
they're
they're going to
Zarpessa or Zizi?
We'll know her as Zizi now because...
I really don't like the repetition of all the last names. Like, just... It doesn't matter.
We gotta get...
Maybe, unless there's something coming up later.
Maybe she's thinking of, like... along the lines of like Peter Parker and all the Marvel heroes that are like
these are not Marvel
names.
Heroes.
But these are not Marvel heroes, honey. Darling.
Darling.
I'm not using hun anymore. It's always darling.
Oh, you have to tell that.
Darling. That'd be great. All right, chapter 2, which is very interesting and fitting, because it's Exodus. So I think we're throwing the Bible in here now, because that was also the second book of the Bible, and now we've got to have the second chapter is Exodus. So clearly Modelland is our new Bible.
No. From what I've heard of this, I don't think that's a good idea.
No, I don't think it is either. I think that's a horrible, horrible idea. Let's not do that. So I've discovered we might be starting each chapter out with this omniscient narrator voice, which I think is Tyra, because it ends it with that little, like, Modelland mark after it.
Okay. That's probably what it is.
It's only 3 very short paragraphs, but it still makes me...
That say the exact same thing as the first 2 paragraphs of the normal rating?
It's just...
We'll see. We'll see how it is for this one.
Chapter 2, Exodus. Oh, the smell. The dreadful smell. Poor Tookie, covered in the wretched decay of other people's refuse. How I wish...
No, Tookie, no! Is she digging in the sewers?
Sounds like it.
Oh, no!
How I wish I could hand her a pair of loofah mitts, or offer her a scalding bath with the essential oils of eucalyptus, bergamot, and yingling, with 3 boxes of baking soda, a gallon of laundry detergent, 12 cupfuls of all-purpose bleach, 2 squirts of antibacterial hand soap, and a dash of ammonia.
All of that is unnecessary.
I think she freaking smells really bad. I think is what
Oh, how I wish I could just offer her a nice, refreshing cleaning bath.
I wish I could
That's
give
all
her
you needed.
12 cupfuls of all-purpose bleach. That sounds healthy.
That's more than you're supposed to put in, like, a washer to, like, bleach out, like, whites.
That's more you're supposed to put in, like, a bucket to wash a floor or something.
That's more than you put in a bucket to wash a floor.
Oh.
She's trying to kill her!
Oh, darling. I can feel the burn now.
I bet you can.
But you know what they say. No pain, no removal of funk stain. Alright.
Oh, I think these intros are my favorite part so far.
I have a love-hate relationship with them, and it's great. Screech!
You have to do a better screech than that.
Screech!
There you go.
As Tookie was exiting her last class of the day, a course called Autology is what we're going to call it, which stressed that students must look inside themselves to determine what kind of factory work best suited them. The speaker over her head bleated out 5 seconds of screeching feedback. Oh, good lord. Tension angle obble and eat students, Principal Robbie Cosby boomed over the horrendously unreliable PA system.
Oh, he can't say, bangle. He can't say bees.
Or A's, but...
Tension, angle, obble, oh gosh. And EAD students, what?
We have temporarily shut off all water due to the heightened misuse because of the SMIZE craze. So if you have to use the est room, you must hold it into your off-school premises.
What kind of accent is this? I can't... An accent where you just delete the first letter of every word?
But not every word, just some words. The words you feel like you don't need to say those other letters. Perfect, Tookie thought, looking at her hands, still mucky from her date with the trash can. So, okay, so the voice before she's talking about the trash can.
Oh, okay, so she's not digging in the sewers.
No, just the trash. And she needs bleach. Kids, don't put your hands in the trash. We're gonna bleach them.
With 12 cups full of
12 cups full of bleach, at the very least. And then a bunch of other stuff that we shouldn't also use on skin.
But still, just don't play in the trash. That's
don't do that.
Still not good.
She walked down the bank of battered lockers, rusty and chipped, some with doors nearly off their hinges, and all with students' names written on strips of paper, and finally arrived at a space without a locker. At this crevice in the wall was a small door split across the middle. As Tookie pushed down hard on the bottom half of the door, both halves retracted, one into the floor, the other into the ceiling, revealing a dangling rope. She pulled the rope to raise a hidden shelf. It was a dumbwaiter. Okay.
Oh.
Now it makes. I'm thinking she's opening up like a totally spy secret compartment into a layer. I'm like,
okay,
she's really cool. And it's a
she doesn't have a locker,
so
I
she has
bet.
a
So she has
dumbwaiter.
the dumbwaiter she hides her books in.
Tyra, just say dumbwaiter. Just say dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
It was a dumbwaiter, another relic from when B3 had cranked out baubles, bangles, and beads, in case you couldn't remember what B3 was. Because I can't. Factory workers had used it to pass items like jeweler's tools, food, and garbage between the floors of the building. Today, this old relic was Tookie De La Crème's locker. On the first...
Called it.
Yep.
Yep.
On the first day of high school at B3, all of the lockers had been taken, left to fend for herself, because that's what the student body does to each other and what the school board would allow for things like that to happen.
I mean, you wouldn't give a locker to a ghost.
This is true.
So if she is dead,
she's got to be a ghost,
if
right?
she's a ghost, then it makes sense.
Yep.
If I was on school board and someone said that this ghost wants their own locker, I'd probably laugh.
She's got to be a ghost, right? That's.
I'm really
twist.
hoping. I'm
She's
hoping
dead.
this is the
Tookie's
plot
dead.
twist.
Left to fend for herself, Tookie improvised with the dumbwaiter, but she didn't mind it at all. Beside the usual piles of textbooks and novels, Tookie had installed a miniature, fully stocked cooler. I like her. Probably not a cooler for fun things. It's probably for water.
Yeah.
Probably not for anything.
You installed a cooler, as in you put a cooler in it.
I know.
I mean, that still works for
Unless it's a wine cooler, I'm not that interested.
Oh dear.
She opened the cooler, pulled out a box of wipes, and cleaned the grime from the trash bin off her hands as best as she could. Then she considered her snacking options. Tookie was always hungry, so she'd like to have an arsenal of food on hand. There were buttermilk biscuits, plastic containers of sausage gravy, vanilla sandwich cookies, every condiment from spicy ketchup to Dijon mustard to mesquite, honey, and chipotle barbecue sauces, her favorites. She pretty much liked all food except chocolate. I don't like her anymore. She'd once gorged at a chocolate festival her mother had dragged her to in the district of Ladorno, home of some of the finest chocolatiers in the world. She'd eaten so much she'd gotten sick on the drive home, but her mother hadn't shown her any sympathy when Tookie had demanded they pull over so she could throw up. So she had thrown up in the car. For punishment, her mother had grounded her. Literally, Tookie had been forced to sit and sleep on the floor for 1 solid month.
Oh, okay. I can see why she might
Never
harbor
mind.
very bad memories and associations. with
Tookie,
chocolate.
I take it back. I'm so sorry. Finally, Tookie selected a canister of strawberry-flavored whipped cream and shot a spurt of cold, delicious whipped berry yumminess onto her tongue. Then she grabbed the books she needed for homework, slammed the dumbwaiter shut, and continued toward the double-door exit. Most of her classmates were still burbling excitedly about T-Dod. Kylie, a bronze-skinned girl wearing bamboo earrings the size of her head, Read aloud from the Peppertown Press. The mayor of Metopia, the Honorable Devin Rump VI, predicts the biggest turnout ever. Spectators who have traveled to Metopia from all over the world are paying record prices for prime spots. Rump has launched an aggressive campaign to arrest scalpers who are selling tickets to VIP sections. I'm making it my personal mission, declared Mayor Rump, to protect every young girl's an inalienable right. Not every young girl is inalienable right, Tookie thought as she pushed through the school's double doors. A huge sign across the street confronted her. Welcome to Peppertown, accessories Mecca. Metopia was split into 4 quadrants, each with its own weather system. There was frigid Shivera, tempestuous Pitter-Patter, lovely Ladorno, only the elite lived there, and it was where T-Dot was always held. And finally, sweltering Peppertown, as hot as, you guessed it, a Scotch bonnet.
We're gonna
take a second here. I need to know what a Scotch bonnet is.
Hang on.
Why is it hot?
Scotch.
Or is this? It's sarcasm, right? So it's a good 1800s, literally a bonnet.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're Caribbean they're Caribbean red peppers, a variety of chili pepper, have a heat rating of 2,500 to 8,000 on the whatever heat scale this is. But anyway, so they're very hot peppers.
It's
so
hot
Peppertown.
there.
And I've heard of them. I couldn't have placed what they were.
No.
Okay.
Because
now that I know that they're peppers, this is making more sense.
Because all you could have said was hot as a jalapeno or something like that, and your alliteration would have been almost not like.
I points for creativity. Points for creativity.
Yeah, I was once creative in my own writing, and that creativity caused many people to have to use a dictionary and a thesaurus to understand what I meant. And I feel like as an author, it's our job to make it so they can understand it without having to stop to Google things.
I don't know. I think this one, I would let this one pass.
Okay.
I've heard of it before. Now that I have looked it up, I'm like, oh yes, I have heard of this as in context of it being a pepper. So I'll excuse this one, but we'll keep an eye out.
Just this one. We'll see what happens next.
We'll see how it goes.
Each quadrant butted up against the others like the seams of a garment. And oh, what a shock it was to travel from one quadrant into the next. The thing was, because of Metopia's expansive range of environments and wealth of natural resources, the city's politicians realized that a great many things could be produced there, and a great deal of money made. The city grew into the global center of the fashion and beauty industry. The majority of Metopia's residents worked on inhumane fashion, or beauty factory assembly lines. In fact, the majority of B3 students who weren't selected for the grand land on the mountain would end up doing the same. There were always job openings, which sounds slightly sketchy.
Yep. So wait, so it's not a country. Metopia must be that.
It's like
obviously a city, but with
city,
different quadrants.
A metropolis. So it's like I guess.
So like Zootopia.
It's like Zootopia.
Zootopia with their different
Zootopia
with their different quadrants.
Minus furries. That's what we're looking at right now.
Okay. All right, guys.
Zootopia meets Hunger Games.
It's definitely seeming like a dystopian kind of world.
Yeah. The Welcome to Peppertown signs were on the corner of every block of the quadrant. The Quadrant Council had thought the signs would be cheerful beacons for tourists, not that tourists ever visited. Accessories weren't the only thing associated with Peppertown, though. The thing most people associated with Peppertown was the whoosh. As soon as Tookie stepped out of B3's double doors, her eyes squinted almost closed from the searing sun. The heat wafted at her like someone had just switched on the world's largest, strongest turbine-powered heater. Students covered their faces as though they stepped into a dust storm. Sunglasses immediately rose to eyes and hats clapped to top heads. When her eyes had adjusted, Tookie saw Abigail Good yelling and marching by, wielding at the heavens a picket sign that read, "Down with razors." And as usual, Tookie's hair exploded into expando mode, each individual follicle swelling and swelling until pop. Her multiple personality hair was about 6 times its original size. Groaning, Tookie reached into her bag, groping for a bottle of Chavot Mal gel, the only gel that kind of worked on her hair. The sun's wrath determined Peppertown's landscape as well. The leaves on the trees were crisp and brown. No birds nestled in nooks or branches, no butterflies fluttered by, not even the tiniest insect scuttled past on the sidewalk. And you didn't dare touch the sidewalk in Peppertown. It would burn your fingertips off. Oh no, wait, your fingerprints off. Not just the tips, your fingerprint. So you'd be unidentifiable once you died.
This sounds like a good place for thieves.
This sounds like a great place for thieves to live, guys.
Guys, I can't be identified, so... Alright, we're gonna do
Gotta
this.
thief.
Touch.
I can't really use my fingers anymore, but...
Well, all you gotta do is just hold them there long enough, burn off the fingerprints, then you're good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great. Only a few people trudged dazedly down the broiling streets that day. A fair-skinned, eggplant-shaped woman stepped out of a toe ring factory. Before she could clap a sun hat on her head, her skin had turned an angry red.
Me. It was me.
That was you! A man in a bowler hat weakly and uselessly fanned his face with a copy of the Peppertown Press, wet ink staining his sweaty palms. The headline on the front page said, "Baroness Still on the Run." It was a story that had ravaged Metopia for several years now. Apparently a famous wealthy baroness had run a Yonzi scheme of sorts, investing people's money unwisely and bankrupting them all. Instead of making good on her payments, she had gathered her family and fled.
Alright, so now, because this was specifically mentioned, we have to be on the lookout for this.
Yeah, because if this never comes up again...
Then it's pointless information that we don't need.
It's no good. Okay, Yonzi scheme. Remember Yonzi scheme
The
and
Baroness.
the Baroness. The Baroness with the Yonzi scheme. Dominique and Monique, 2 girls with large Tres Jolet braids coiled around their heads, bent over a fire hydrant, watching water spray from the spout. 2 SMIZEs have been found already, Dominique squealed. Only 2! Which leaves 5 still out there somewhere. If a SMIZE comes out now, we'll cut it in half and we can both wear it to T-Dod. Because that works.
I don't know. I don't know the rules of this world. I'm more concerned by the fact that they opened a fire hydrant.
And are just
That's gotta be a crime. It's like a horrible crime,
in
right?
like a place that's like a sweltering desert to live?
Oh, I would think so.
That already has a water crisis? I'm thinking that you should go to jail. But alright, hon. You do you. Monique squealed happily. Our chances will improve by 45.5%. Not bad. Look, a girl at the bottom of the B3 steps pointed at the sky. Everyone looked up. Some of the fog at the very top of the mountain had parted, revealing the top tips of what they all knew was bright-eyed shining in the sky. Oh! Everyone cried.
Is this like Lord of the Rings?
It's like, I think the eye that you see on the cover watches them all, and I think it's Tyra's eye, and she just loves her little world and loves to rule over it and create suffering. So, the Grand Mountain poked between Peppertown's wilted trees. Even though Tookie couldn't see them from here, she knew the camera crews were camped out at the mountain's base, anxiously waiting for that golden fog to vanish and scouts to start shuttling girls up to the peak. Is this it? Dominique shrieked. Is it happening? Not yet, Zizi, who was standing at the curb, said knowingly. My leg waxer's father's sister told me this fog peekaboo is just to get us all excited so we'll buy more souvenirs on T-Dod. Then,
this is like on the level of like, I'm your father's brother's cousin's former roommate kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Before you die, there is something you should know about us, Lone Star.
What?
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
And she does this all the time, though. I love it. It's great. I love to poke fun at it. Then, as if following ZZ's command, the hole in the fog closed, obscuring the mysterious mountain once more. The pandemonium quickly turned to reverent silence. Tookie's heart slowed its pace. Hey, Czar, need a ride home? Lorelei, one of Zarpessa or Zizi's friends, asked. I'd love to see the gorgeous mansion you live in. Thanks, but no thanks, Zizi twirled her hair. See, my therapist, yoga teacher's meditation guru son-in-law told me that my walk to and from school is, well, it's my time to be by myself, especially in prep for the big day. Maybe another time. And then she turned and marched off down a sweltering side street. Tookie sighed and turned too. She had to walk home as well, but not because some meditation guru told her it was her alone time. As she trudged along the charbroiled sidewalk, she kept a running count of the cracks in the overlapping messages paint stamped onto the concrete at street corners. Faded stamps read, where is C tilde L? Sealy.
Must be Sealy. Wait.
L. CL?
CL. Oh, CL.
CL.
I think we should call her C tilde L.
C tilde L?
C tilde L.
C
tilde L.
Newer ones painted on top of that said, where the hell is C tilde L? It's gotta be what it is, right? It's gotta be, because that works so well. Where the hell is C tilde L?
I like it.
I love it.
I like it.
That's what it is. Oh no, I have to say that like 5 more times in the next paragraph. Okay.
Uh-oh, what have we done?
The messages puzzled Tookie. They referred to C tilde L, whose name was pronounced, CL. Dang it.
Darn it.
The most magnificent 7-7 ever to grace the earth. A 777. A majestic woman with caramel-colored skin and the most intoxicating eyes. For a long time, CL's visage was everywhere and monopolized every fashion campaign and runway in every major style capital of the world. Until only a few months ago, when her images had abruptly disappeared from billboards, magazine ads, and the sides of buses worldwide. A special news bulletin had announced that CL was no longer accepting work and wouldn't be the face of her own CL by Jerk perfume.
What?
Jurk. CL by Jerk. Alright.
What a name.
The best-selling fragrance in the world. I'm sure it was for the name. But there was no explanation. Tookie walked on past the long lines of accessory factories. Workers rushed in and out, their heads down, their faces permanently creased into frowns. Several children stood on the sidewalk, their eyes hollow, their hair cut short, their bodies swimming in workers' uniforms. These were the factory dependents. Children, sometimes even younger than Tookie, whose parents could no longer, or chose not to, care for them. Greedy industry overlords took them in, housed them in slums, and paid them nothing, servants for life. Whenever Tookie saw them, she felt a rush of pity and dread. Now I'm just really sad.
Yeah.
Now I'm just really bummed. How much longer do I have to be bummed for?
Dystopian.
I've got 10 more
sort of
pages
feel.
of bumming to do, I guess, because that's what this chapter is all about. Just bumming you out.
Be a bum.
We joked around chapter 1, and now we just gotta bum you out all of chapter 2.
Yep. Gotta see like the horror of the dystopian world.
Yeah,
so
I guess so.
it's more world building.
Then she approached a sunglasses factory whose facade was made of long sheets of glass. Her image swam into the reflection, and she winced. She had that 4, no 5, no 6 head, the slightly too small weak chin, the multiple personality disorder hair, and the woolly caterpillar eyebrows. Her eyes still spread wide like an antelope's, one the color of dirt, the other of snot. Yep, same old Tookie, different day. This is at least the 3rd time we've described Tookie. And I kind of feel like I want to point out right now that Tyra has mentioned that Tookie is supposed to be like Tyra as a young person. And so it's interesting what kind of a warped vision that maybe Tyra had for her own self if she's describing Tookie in these horrible ways multiple times. And I can't tell if it's for the fact that she's just really trying to pound into us the fact that Tookie is not supposedly or should be attractive, Or is she just so fixated on, like...
Or maybe it's the fact that usually, like, people don't necessarily always find themselves attractive, while maybe other people do.
Could be.
Maybe that's what's supposed to be. Although no one seems to notice Tookie, and they all seem to agree that she's not attractive by conventional standards.
It's just,
I don't know.
Interesting because I get that, okay, she's not your typical girl, that's the way it's being portrayed. But we are really being told 100 times over that she is not attractive. Don't expect her to get chosen. She is not attractive. Don't expect her to get chosen. I wonder what sort of plot twist lies ahead.
Again, you don't really need to describe the character in depth.
No.
So many times. I think we get the idea already. Like, why couldn't they have had... Well, no one notices Tookie. I was going to say Tyra could have just had other people kind of like comment or remark or give some sort of like clue that maybe they didn't find her attractive, but it's just no one even notices her and knows that she exists.
I'm not so much of a fan of info dump as far as character appearances. Like, it's okay to hint at, like, somebody had raven black hair at, like, the first thing. But the second, like, and I am at fault for doing this with one of my characters, is having that character stand in front of a mirror or stand in front of a glass window and recount all of their, like, character descriptions so that you can just get them out of the way.
So, like, I feel like this happens a lot for, like, beginning writers where you think, oh my gosh, this is such a cool idea. I can describe the character. No one will think it's weird. No one's ever done this. And then, like, you start to read other stories and, like, hear more, like, even fan fictions and stuff, and you're like, oh, everyone goes through a stage where they, like, have their character look at themselves in a reflection and, I mean, or something, and like, describe themselves in a huge info dump that's not necessarily needed for you to grasp the concept of the character.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could describe her a couple of things at a time, but I don't feel like layering on this info dump twice in one chapter and once in another is, like, very beneficial. Like, we know how this girl feels. You could have just simply said she winced at her reflection and moved on. Like, we understand what this girl looks like now, 100-fold. Anyway.
I would rather be shown, not told.
Yeah. Alright. A few blocks later, Tookie turned down an alley between two factories and waited in front of an old oak tree. No matter how hot it was or how tired and dejected she felt, Tookie walked down this narrow corridor and stopped at this tree every single day. It was a special place, the place her friend Lizzie called home. It wasn't a home in the normal sense. The day Tookie met Lizzie, the nervous red-haired girl had been fleeing an invisible assailant and had dragged Tookie up this very tree with her. Nestled in the top branches was a tree cottage of sorts, with piles and piles of clothes inside. Nurses' uniforms and firemen's boots and mechanics' jumpsuits. Bags of scones and jugs of water sat in the corner. A twin mattress, who knew how Lizzie had dragged it up there, sat in the middle, shaded by heavy branches. This is where Lizzie lived, alone. I just love it when authors call out their own BS. It's like, yeah, I don't know how this young child would pull out this giant twin mattress into a tree. But it's there. Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine. Just believe it.
You don't need to understand.
I don't need to understand anything. I just have to believe it because it's fantasy and it's dystopian, so anything's possible. It's fine. All right. Now, as Tookie approached the tree, she thought she saw a branch rustle. She hadn't seen Lizzie in almost 6 weeks, which was a little strange. Sure, Lizzie kept an erratic schedule, not going to school, disappearing at night, but 6 weeks was an awfully long absence. Tookie was worried about her. Hang on a second.
She's not a flake.
I thought this...
Finish her.
My thought was, I thought Tookie had mentioned that there were only 2 people that had spoken to her at school, and that was the one dude, Lovelaces, and Lizzie.
I don't think she says at school.
Just talk to in general,
I think she just says that that's her only friend.
Because I was like, okay, now she doesn't go to school. All right.
My question is Lizzie like a night walker with all kinds of weird different outfits and a creepy mattress hidden in the dark? I'm sorry, maybe that's not what this is supposed to be, but...
no. I'm scared now. This has turned into a horror novel.
I hope that's not what what that is. No, poor Lizzie, no.
Oh, no.
This would also explain why she, like, disappeared. So, like, someone killed her off.
Yep. It's fine, guys. Happy,
I hope that's not the
happy.
case. I hope they find her. Maybe. I don't know this character real well.
Maybe we'll find out. Plot twist, I think she's evil. I'm calling it now.
She is the Baroness.
She's the Baroness. Then Tookie spotted a shock of red hair. A figure peered down from a high branch. Oh, never mind.
Okay, she's there.
Lizzie! Tookie cried out, her heart lifted. The girl darted down the makeshift ladder that hung from the tree cottage, grabbed Tookie's hand, and pulled her upward. When they reached the top, the girls extended their palms out, pointed to the sky with both hands, sniffed each armpit, and then curtsied.
I'm not doing that.
Come on, Kaylee, we gotta hold out our hands and sniff each other's armpits and then curtsy.
No, that's okay.
We're best friends, right? This is what we do?
I'm not sniffing your armpit. I wouldn't want you to sniff mine.
No, not in this house. Not when it's 82 inside here. This was their silent expression of their secret greeting. What's up, hot queen? Is anyone with you? Lizzie whispered. Oh, sorry. Is anyone with you? Lizzie whispered, her left hand twitching. Tookie snorted. Is anyone ever? You know you've always safe with forget a girl. You know you're always safe with forget a girl. I hate it when you say that. Stop it. Tookie shrugged. Just saying the truth. Lizzie sighed. Well, I remember you, as clear as this day is hot. So shut up. Then she peeked down at the ground. There was an unhinged, terrified look in her eyes. Oh. She peeked down at the ground. She's like, oh my god. We're not being followed, Lizzie, Tookie insisted. I swear. There's no one with me or near me. Lizzie exhaled a long-held breath and flung her arms around Tookie, squeezing hard. I've missed you so much. Me too, Tookie said, feeling both grateful Lizzie was back and frustrated that she'd been gone in the first place. She pulled away and stared at her friend. Lizzie's skin was oddly smooth, nothing like its normal acne-prone, pock-marked, sunburned state, and she wore a blue hospital gown tied at the back and a pair of doctor's scrub pants that bagged at the ankles. Shivera County Hospital was stitched on the gown. This always happened when Lizzie returned from a long period away.
What? So she might be in the hospital. Beats some, like, nurse or something, knocks them unconscious, takes their scrubs and leaves?
I don't know. My best guess is she's going under some sort of procedure, so she's not a forget-a-girl.
That would make sense.
That's my best guess so far.
That would make a lot of sense in the context, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So tell me everything, Lizzie flopped down on her mattress. What have I missed? Tookie shyly reached into the pocket of her shorts, which were now quite sweaty from the humid walk, and pulled out the button. T-O-Oki. I found this today. Lizzie stared at it carefully. Is it one of his? Tookie nodded. She told Lizzie about Theophilus countless times before, describing him in great detail, down to his vote for love pin. And he spoke to me too, she filled Lizzie in, except for the part about how Zizi had swooped in and ruined everything. Lizzie ran her fingers over the dented metal. Look at how the letters have worn off to spell your name. It's a sign. Tookie loved that Lizzie got her so quickly. No one else did. Yes, but then she appeared. Zizi? Lizzie guessed. Okay, so we're going to talk about her now. We've just discussed that we didn't mention her, so now we gotta mention her. Okay. Yep, Tookie groaned. That girl has everything. Gorgeousness, money, Theophilus. Every time Zizi touches my Theophilus, it digs at my heart.
He's so pretty. I love him. I love him. No one loves him like I love him.
I know this is how girls talk, but
I know.
Sometimes, not always, not all girls, obviously, but
your crush
Tookie,
does not belong to you. Your crush does not belong
People
to
don't
you.
belong to people.
People don't belong to people. Like, I don't... Honey, babe. All right. A conflicted look crossed Lizzie's face, and then she smiled. Actually, your heart's not the only thing ZZ's digging. What? What are you talking about? Tookie prodded. Lizzie raised her eyebrows. Come on, I'll show you. She grabbed Tookie's hand, and the girls climbed down the ladder. Lizzie pulled Tookie along a series of streets until they arrived at Juan Jorge's, the only fancy restaurant in Peppertown, which catered to the Quadrant's politicians. What are we doing here? Tookie whispered. Shh, Lizzie whispered. She led Tookie to a dumpster. Dumpster's capitalized. Is it capitalized before?
We haven't seen the word yet.
Led Tookie to a capitalized dumpster at the back of the restaurant. Its lid gaped open, the lock broken. Tookie looked at Lizzie. Lizzie, are you hungry? Do you need food? Lizzie usually dumpster dove, capitalized again,
no.
even though Tookie tried to provide her with as much food as she could. But Lizzie shook her head. Look! A group of shabby people stood around the dumpster. Some of them wore masks. The tallest man wore a gas mask, a shorter woman wore a tribal mask, and what looked like a girl of Tookie's age had on a tattered comedy tragedy mask. The girl carried a familiar yellow dream bag in the crook of her elbow. Tookie frowned. The woman in the tribal mask pushed in front of the rest and grabbed handfuls of untouched fish fillets, half-drained bottles of wine, and loaves of day-old Très Jolie bread. Czar, baby, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. Take the Z-Bass. It's still warm.
Oh no.
Oh, poor Zizi. Czar? Tookie whispered. Lizzie nodded feverishly, trying not to twitch. The woman pulled more items out of the dumpster. Czar, baby, here's some sparkling apple cider that's still cold. Take it, honey. Please. The girl in the masquerade mask dropped the bottle into her dream bag. The same gold glitter that adorned Theophilus' presidential posters dotted her fingers. Could it really be Zizi under there? B3 Zizi? The stunning, wealthy girlfriend of Theophilus Lovelaces?
This is why she didn't want the chick to take her home.
Makes sense now.
Continuity, good.
Good. We're doing good so far. Tookie turned to Lizzie. But Zizi is an heir to the Zarianal Peanut Empire. I just saw an ad for their peanut oil in the paper. Lizzie shrugged. I guess they lost their fortune. Just then, the masked girl's head shot up.
Uh-oh.
The dark eye holes in her mask aimed straight at Tookie and Lizzie. They both ducked, but not quite in time. Zizi's shoulders stiffened. The cider bottle fell out of her dream bag, shattering on the ground. Run! Lizzie cried. They bolted away from the restaurant and sprinted through the sweltering Peppertown streets. Once they were safely out of range, Tookie stopped and bent over, out of breath. Do you think she saw us? I don't know, Lizzie answered. I can't believe it, Tookie shook her head. How long do you think she's been digging through trash? I think it's been years, Lizzie said. She's just made the mistake of crossing over into my territory. At the used clothes dump super early this morning, I got into a tussle with her over a killer dress. It was a deep yellow and it was made with this crazy shimmery fabric. Man, I could have snuck into some serious black tie blowouts in that thing. But Miss Zizi, she won the tug of war. I guess she wanted it more. So, I threw some matching yellow shoes at her. Her shameless butt scooped them right up and didn't even utter a thank you. Wow, Tookie whispered. She's living one big fat lie. One big fat homeless lie. And, suddenly, mid-sentence, Lizzie's expression changed, clouding and contorting into a look Tookie knew all too well. Something had overtaken Lizzie's mind. Her body twitched. The muscles in her face stretched and contracted.
Oh my god, she's possessed!
I think she's having a seizure or something.
This would explain the hospital.
She glared blankly into Tookie's eyes. Tell them to stop, Lizzie pleaded in a strange, garbled voice. They always say it won't hurt, but it does. Lizzie, come back, Tookie urged, grabbing Lizzie by her shoulders and shaking her. I can take it when they hurt me, but when they hurt you, Robin, I feel it more. Robin again? Lizzie, who is Robin? Lizzie casually rolled up her sleeve, and Tookie's gaze fell to her friend's bare arm. 3 inflamed red marks marred the crook of her elbow. Right at the center, a burn scar traversed her bicep. A larger patch of seared skin bubbled on the inside of her wrist. The burn looked fresh. Tookie winced. Then Lizzie began to search the ground. Lizzie, don't, Tookie said, knowing what was coming next. Lizzie ignored Tookie and continued her search, finally locating a sharp rock. She picked it up and then brought its jagged edge down to her inner arm, near her wrist. Blood flowed from the fresh slice in her skin. Tookie grabbed her arm. Stop it. Why do you do that? I feel like this could be horribly triggering.
I feel like it could. Oh dear.
Lizzie lowered her eyes. Her face was a ballet of twitching and wincing. Because it hurts so much, and I feel better when I do it, she said desperately. Tears came to Tookie's eyes. She felt helpless seeing her best friend so tormented. Lizzie, what hurts so much? You can tell me, Tookie begged. I can handle it, and you know I'm not going anywhere. Ever. You know you can trust me. Does it have something to do with that place? She pointed to the embroidery on Lizzie's gown. Shivera County Hospital. She both wanted to know the answer and feared it. It's better you don't know, Lizzie whispered. Tookie took a step back. The Melancholia ward, she thought. That had to be where Lizzie had gone. That was surely where she always went. Officials probably repeatedly hunted down the paranoid orphan girl and dragged her off to the infamous metal ward in Shivera County Hospital, since she was too unstable to work in a factory. People in Metopia whispered that the staff at Melancholia ignored the atrocities that went on between the patients. Some said it was worse than the Shivera prison, which housed Metopia's deadliest criminals. There was never any way Tookie could look for Lizzie in Melancholia either. The Shivera Hospital kept no records, as though it didn't exist. During the 5 years they'd been friends, Lizzie had taught Tookie many things. Not to be afraid to spelunk into hidden Peppertown caves, which offered a stunning view of the undiscovered Peppertown Platinum Mine. How to sneak into the ritzy, no tourists allowed areas of Ladorno without getting caught. It's all about attitude, Lizzie had said, donning a hand-me-up dress from Tookie's closet. And what with Tookie's strange spills and writing but never sending letter habit, Lizzie's screams and paranoia, it was like they were the only 2 happily crazed screwballs in a sea of sanity.
Everyone's mad here.
Everyone's mad here.
Oh dear.
Try not to think about where I disappeared to, Tookie, Lizzie whispered, pulling the gown sleeves back over her arms. A wistful look floated across her face. Think about Exodus instead, sleeping on the beach every night. Tookie smiled weakly. And swimming wherever we want to. Lizzie poked Tookie's thigh. The whipped cream factory we could build for you, right on the shore. So we'd be in the dreaded factory business, huh? Tookie said playfully. Grow what we know. We'll build a grilled cheese dipped in strawberry jelly factory for you. Grilled cheese dipped in strawberry jelly was Lizzie's absolute favorite food, in case you couldn't tell. Tookie snuck Lizzie's sandwiches whenever she got the chance. And we'd own the factories, not just work in them, Lizzie added. Our workers would be part owners too, and we'd treat them with respect, not like the workers are treated here. And Theophilus would be our mayor, Tookie swooned. And we'd give our leftover lunches to Zizi as she waited outside every night in the cold ocean air for our staff scraps, said Lizzie with a devilish grin. These girls are horrible!
At least, I mean,
Okay.
has Zizi done anything mean besides, date the
No!
guy?
No, and they
that
just
she
found out
likes?
she's homeless and, diving
And,
for
living a
scraps.
life.
And they're like, ha, We'd make her live like that the rest of our lives if we could. Wow!
Oh no!
Guys, no! Please, no!
Oh no!
Let's not be this way. Please, no! No, no, no. And there'd be no sharp objects anywhere near our factories, Tookie said strongly, forcing Lizzie to look into her eyes. Right? Lizzie locked eyes with Tookie, then looked down and rubbed her arm. Right, she said. Okay, so, when? Tookie looked off into the distance, and her mind flashed with the memories of what she and Lizzie had talked about so many times, leaving Metopia together, forever. Who knew where they'd go? Who knew they'd get there? How they'd get there? But they'd figure it out. They'd be two forget-a-girl peas in a pod. They called it their Exodus plan. Their secret code for it was XO2. Tookie would write their symbol on the front door of her home when it was time to go. I don't know, Lizzie. I don't think I'm ready. Tookie had never been out of Metopia. How could she live in a tree and scavenge for food as Lizzie did? Of course you're ready, Lizzie said. You're stronger than you think. That's a Winnie the Pooh line.
Yeah.
You're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you think. Or you're smarter than you think.
And no, it's you're braver than believe. You're like it's alliteration because it's smarter than you seem, isn't it?
Oh, it could be.
Or is it stronger than you seem? No, never mind. So it can't be alliteration.
It reminded me of Winnie the Pooh, is what it boils down to.
It has that line in there.
Yep. Tookie looked away. She didn't really believe that. Then Lizzie scanned the alleyway, probably looking for pursuers again. It was empty. Tookie touched Lizzie's shoulder. Lizzie, if I go away with you, will you tell me the truth about what happened to you? Her gaze fell to Lizzie's arm, the hospital sleeve now concealing the burns. She thought about how she both wanted and didn't want to know this dark secret of Lizzie's. Lizzie's lips parted. She blinked silently for a moment, thinking, running her fingers slowly along her forearm. No. They'll kill you if I tell you. You have to trust me. Then she shuddered and wheeled around. I have to go. They're getting close. But I just got here, Lizzie, and you've been gone for so long. Don't go yet, Tookie pleaded. Where are you going? Do you need water? More clothes? I can steal some blankets from my house. You know how she gets rid of stuff that's already been used. I'll be okay. I'll wait for you to be ready, Tookie. And I know you will be soon. Exodus. Think about it. For real this time. I love you, Tookie. Giving Tookie a hurried wave, Lizzie quickly ran down the hot Pepper Town sidewalk. Tookie's eyes tracked Lizzie as far as she could see. Her last view of her troubled friend was of Lizzie stooping to pick up something up off the ground. Tookie shut her eyes, devastated, when she realized what it was. Another sharp rock.
Oh, no! No!
And I think that's where we're going to end it today. We got...
Well, that's depressing.
I'm going to end on that depressing note because otherwise this video would get very, very long because it's already probably somewhere near an hour and a half. So, yay! And
all quality content.
All high quality content, and we've only got... Let me see. Oh, there's an epilogue. Good.
Well, we can't read that yet.
47? We've only got 45 more chapters to go! Are you excited? You guys ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this.
I don't know if I'm ready either.
Alright, so well, hope you guys enjoyed so far. Not sure when the next video will be up, but we'll try to record these as we get time to, and hopefully you enjoy and follow along. So, see you guys later!
Suffer with us.